You know, nowadays with FBI agents and people staring through your computer screens and your phone screens, I don't trust anybody or any mode of communication anymore, except the old-fashioned one, sending things in a bottle down the river. So, that is just what I'll do. In fact, I'm taking the additional step in actually translating all of my work into Arabic, the Star Wars language. It's pretty universal. I think my beloved will understand what I'm trying to say, and he's been doing the same thing to me. Now, yes, I might have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for such response, but at least I know that it will be secure.
One eternity later.
I finally got a response. Let's translate this Arabic and see what my true love sent to me. How do you leave someone on red in Arabic? Just asking for a friend. Two weeks ago, I went into my issues with the whole Kylo Ren and Rey ship, and I've appreciated a good majority of your responses because I'm always welcome for dialogue as long as it's civil and it's friendly. However, briefly in that video, I went over Mara Jade as well as her relationship with Luke Skywalker and the relevancy to the old canon and of course the topic of last time's video. And I said that I was always planning on doing a Mara Jade video as well as her importance to the old canon and how much I just respect her as a character and think she's so necessary to what we have now. And I did. That's always been on my mind. However, things have happened in the past week that have made me really want to talk about this. Star Wars and Disney related things together as they belong. For those of you who don't know, a picture of a bathroom stall written in Arabic in Galaxy's Edge surfaced on Reddit this week. And when translated from Arabic to English, it says Mara Jade lives in clear text. Now, I'm not going to go into the overall authenticity of this because Matt Martin from Lucasfilm already debunked this and said this was fake, or the fact this would not be how we want Mara Jade to be brought into canon when you consider characters like Thrawn who were brought into canon and how grandiose that was done and just the overall announcement of that, especially how big of a character she is. We don't want her being introduced into canon via bathroom stalls. We just don't. Not very respectful to the character or to the overall fans surrounding the character. But what I will say is none of it really matters in the grand scheme of things because this has introduced so much dialogue and so much conversation. I mean, I feel like I am always seeing Mara Jade rumors circulating the internet. I mean, whether it be that she's going to be in The Mandalorian, whether she's going to resurface in the comics, whether or not she's going to get in the books, or even her own Disney Plus series. I've just seen a plethora of Mara Jade content all over the internet. And I think it is high time that we brought her back. And I know that a lot of people say, oh, well, they've kind of missed the boat as far as what they've created in the sequel trilogy in erasing her character. And I'm not really here to figure out where her place is in this. I'm just saying she deserves to be there in some form. They were able to rework Thrawn in. I thoroughly believe that they would be able to rework Mara Jade into the new canon in a new way. Not everything would obviously be able to be the same, but I do think that a lot of similar elements from her previous past could work. Now, to do that, I just want to take the time to talk about her past and why she's such a revered character and why I think she belongs here in the new canon.
By the time Timothy Zahn got his hands on the Star Wars universe and his Heir to the Empire trilogy in 1991, the universe was in desperate need of additional female characters, particularly complex ones. Because beforehand, we obviously had Leia, Mon Mothma, Aunt Beru, Jabba's gals.
I'm sure some of the Ewoks were female.
Okay, you get my point. Timothy Zahn himself said that he created Mara Jade to be the strong and complex female character that he felt the series was severely lacking beforehand, and complex she was. Over her time in the EU, now dubbed Legends timeline, we saw Mara Jade go from Emperor's Hand to Smuggler to Jedi Trainee to Master. Mind you, being the Emperor's hand extended a lot more responsibility than fetching him wine or performing exotic dances for him.
Though grossly enough, some of Palpatine's subjects pretty much assumed that Mara was either one of the dancers or one of Palpatine's concubines, which, look, even I don't have the stomach to open that can of worms of what that means, so take that as you will.
Being the Emperor's hand meant receiving top-notch training of the dark side of the Force, as well as combat, covert operations, and of course, becoming a skilled assassin, which Mara became the best of the best at by age 14. The Emperor had many of these secret agents, none of which were aware of the other's existence, but Mara by far had the strongest connection with him, even receiving his telepathic thoughts through the Force from anywhere in the galaxy. Whether it be outing disloyal Imperials, hunting down hidden Jedi, or tracking down secretive information, she performed the Emperor's biddings to such satisfaction that he would even allow her room for relaxation and a break, providing her with her own private quarters on Coruscant and all. Despite this, Mara was still considerably jealous of Darth Vader and his spot as Palpatine's apprentice, and when she would spy on him,
per the Emperor's command, which doesn't exactly sound like a very healthy master-apprentice bond, but you know.
She could sense the divide in him over Luke Skywalker and hoped he would betray the Emperor so she could kill Vader and take his spot as Palpatine's apprentice. The Emperor, of course, worried over the Luke Skywalker dilemma as well, and sent Mara Jade to interrogate Jabba the Hutt, as it became known that he held Luke's friend, you might know him as Han Solo, in his clutches, and it was only a matter of time before Luke made the attempt to rescue him. Mara used her typical disguise of being a dancer named Erica to fit in, even having a conversation with 3PO where she tries to get information about Luke from him. Her plot to trap Skywalker before he can escape Tatooine is foiled ultimately when a member of Jabba's security detail accuses her of being an assassin attempting Jabba's life, and Mara is forced to make a hasty exit. Not without turning the tables on this girl and making her out to be the true danger to Jabba, but still, Luke has a vision many years down the line depicting a reality where Mara wasn't stopped beforehand, and wouldn't have been pretty for our boy. During the skirmish on Endor, Mara Jade was actually on vacation, mulling over a recent success in assassinating a man named Akuk, who sought to create his own empire called the Black Nebula. She tries to use her Force link with Palpatine to convey her thoughts on the matter, but is met with a different scene. Vader and Luke ganging up on the Emperor and overthrowing him as father and son. Palpatine ensures that Mara can hear his last mental command: kill Luke Skywalker.
I'm too weak. Oh, don't kill me, please.
Can people stop falling for the weak old man card that Palpatine keeps pulling?
And this is kind of where we meet Mara Jade for the first time. With the fall of the Empire's credibility in the galaxy, she doesn't have Palpatine's resources to support herself anymore, and turns to smuggling with Talon Karrde's gang, even becoming his second in command and gaining the smuggler's seal of approval from the likes of Han Solo. She developed such a loyalty for Karrde that she willingly chose him and his clan over the still existent Empire.
Let's just say that Mara Jade was going all "not my emperor" on Thrawn.
Her meeting with Luke Skywalker is one that will ultimately change her life forever. You see, the Emperor's final command for her to kill Luke didn't just register as a typical order for him. Because it was his dying wish and he orchestrated it through the Force, it haunted Mara beyond conscious choice. In other words, she would not be able to fully rest until she fulfilled this last order. And when she first met Luke, she had no problem expressing her desire to kill him. Because he withheld Skywalker from Thrawn, Karrde could be implicated and killed for treason if this was discovered. After his inevitable escape, Mara tracks down Skywalker and the two get trapped after their vehicles crash in the forest. So the two are forced to work together to survive, even fending off a slew of stormtroopers in the process. Because a huge Imperial bounty was eventually placed on Karrde's head and he was caught and thrown into Imperial prison, Mara Jade wagers with Thrawn that she become his Emperor's hand in exchange for amnesty for the Karrde smugglers clan. Thrawn agrees, but rightfully doesn't trust her. It's at this point that Mara Jade is starting to see the true corruption of the Empire.
At least this empire, that is.
And makes the move to break Karrde out of Imperial prison. However, you know what they say about the enemy of your enemy being your friend? Well, that applies really well, since there was no one Thrawn wanted to thwart more than Skywalker, and Mara sees this opportunity and actually assists Luke with taking down the corrupt Jedi Master Joruus C'baoth, whom Luke was training under. She then convinces him to help her in rescuing Karrde from Thrawn's clutches. After this, her stance against the Empire is clear, and she and the Karrde clan assist the New Republic in the Battle of Katana Fleet. She was injured in the process and had to rest on Coruscant for nerve regeneration therapy. It's here she senses a disturbance in the Force in the form of an Imperial attack heading for the Solo household. She helped Lando assist in a rescue and even conveyed plans through the Force with Leia, because Luke's not the only one who gets to mentally call Leia. As a result, though, she was imprisoned by Colonel Jack Bremen. During her imprisonment, she learned of Thrawn's usage of cloning technology and that he'd utilized this to create a clone of Luke Skywalker. His name? Luke Skywalker.
With 2 U's.
By this point, Luke and Mara both came to the conclusion that Mara's bloodlust for killing Luke wasn't coming from a place of her own volition, but that she was telepathically still under the stronghold of the Emperor. During a face-down against Jorah Sabath and Luke with 2 U's, who was wielding Anakin's lightsaber, Mara releases her bloodlust for Luke by killing his clone in lightsaber combat and also manages to destroy Sabath by kneeling in front of her before unleashing a surprise attack. As a token of friendship and gratitude, Luke let her keep Anakin's lightsaber for future use. She trained under Kyle Katarn for a while, and while he turned to the dark side for a brief stint, was the only one to be able to get him to the light again. After this, they entered a mutual apprenticeship of sorts and learned from one another as opposed to slipping into the stereotypical master and apprentice dynamic. Though this dynamic didn't last too long either, because as the video games show, Katarn returned back to his military roots and Jade went back to the Praxium on Yavin 4 to learn the ways of the Jedi and continues to work intermittently with Luke and the Solo Troop for the next few years, including when Palpatine came back. She didn't stick solely to that, going back and forth down the smuggler route too, even working closely with Lando and pretending to be in a relationship with him to top that cover. While on a mission investigating the Hand of Thrawn complex on Nirawan, she and Luke get into an argument about this relationship, only for Mara to reveal that it was never really real in the first place. Later on, while in a life-or-death situation,
Mostly death.
they confess their love for each other and Luke proposes marriage, to which Mara accepts. And they get married in what is really as close to a Star Wars fairy tale ending as you can get. 3PO planned the wedding, making it more grandiose than either Skywalker or Jade would have preferred, but turned out to be a big celebration for all parties. The press took it as an Imperial and New Republic union, which, okay, and they all lived happily ever after.
Psych!
Come on, this is Star Wars. While the happiness does last for a while and Luke and Mara do have a little baby boy named Ben, not him, much better. Things start to go awry when it comes to the Solo twins. Mara takes on Jaina Solo as her apprentice and trains her to be one of the strongest Jedi to ever be. And the problem isn't with her, the problem is with, well, we'll get to that. At the time, the Yuuzhan Vong clan entrenches the galaxy in their sinister and technologically advanced ways, and Mara aids in this fight against them. She goes very sick from this, so sick that she can't attend the funeral of Chewbacca.
And you thought canon Star Wars was bad with breaking the hearts of many with the death of main characters.
Turns out the Yuuzhan Vong peeps have been injecting deadly spores in the air that could normally kill humans instantly, but Mara Jade is so powerful with the Force that she was able to fend it off and keep herself alive for much longer. The antidote to such a deadly ailment is actually the tears of the Yuuzhan Vong, and well, all's well that ends well. Seriously, these Yuuzhan Vong dudes were not to be toyed with. Aside from their emotions saving the lives of those they sought to destroy, they kidnapped little Ben when he was small and tried to use him as leverage to take down Luke and Mara. After this, Mara and Luke think it's best that Jacen Solo, the other twin, watch over little Ben and protect him, especially as Ben had cut himself off from the Force in response to what happened during his infancy. Mara divides her time pretty well between training the younglings and the academy and motherhood. Because of this, when she senses the overall darkness overtaking Jacen Solo, it's extremely upsetting as he'd been so close in proximity of her son. This led to a harsh encounter when she realized that Jacen's choice had been made and he put her son in deliberate harm's way. Mara, being the obviously superior fighter in combat due to an array of experience and strength with the Force, gets Jacen to the point where she's about to finish him off. However, he tricks her by taking on the persona of Ben, making her hesitate for just a second too long and long enough for Jacen to stab her in the leg with a poison dart. She chooses not to fade into the Force immediately and waits for the appropriate time to give everyone else a warning about Jacen Solo as he's becoming Darth Caedus. And while Luke rejects the idea of revenge, Mara's former apprentice, Jaina, Jacen's twin sister, doesn't have such qualms and strikes him down later.
So yeah, that's the life of Mara Jade Skywalker, or at least a very abridged version of her life. Obviously, there's a lot more to her character. It is physically impossible to cover all of this in one reasonably timed video. Maybe I'll talk more about her in the future if that's what you guys want to see. However, I do think that this character has a place in the current canon. I know I said I wouldn't be looking for that place, but I'm just saying. There are 30 years unaccounted for between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. There's some books sprinkled in there, but more closer to what we have in The Force Awakens. I want Mara Jade. I want her in some capacity. I want her to be the reason that Luke is all hermited up and sad on his little lonely island, you know? I think that she belongs here. I think she deserves it. I think fans deserve it. So what do you guys think? Do you want Mara Jade to be back? Do you think she belongs in Legends Past and that Disney can't handle it? I think they can when they put the right writers forward and they put the proper care into the character, especially because Timothy Zahn has such intense creative ownership of her, and they can't do anything without his approval. May the Force be with you guys, and you have a great day.
Target sighted.